Hello friends, today we are going to see two games from the 100 classical 100 classical games or masterpieces. So let's start. The first game of today is between Larsen and Anderson. Bent Larsen versus Borg Anderson. So let's start the game. The game started with d4, c5, d5, some kind of offbeat opening. If we see in the masters, hey, 2000 games seems a little bit suspicious. Okay, d4, c5. How is this sequence pawn game? Okay, 9-8. No problem. And then I go here. How are there 8000 games on it? And what's the main line after d5? I suspect it's d6. e5 is 2 offbeat. Now e4. d6, it has literally transposed into old Benoni, I mean. Knight c3, knight e7. This is some kind of offbeat structure, I don't know. Because see, this is semi-Benoni. I don't know what's this semi-Benoni. 34 games here, bishop to e2. I think it's semi-Benoni because white hasn't played c4, I think so. So knight g6, until now black has developed their one piece from e7 to g6, and white has not did anything. Now g3. Okay, Lubomir Jovic and not that good players have played this line. Bishop e7, h4, knight a6. This is a novelty if we go into the Leech's database. Okay, there has been one game. Now knight f3 was played. Short castle. Oh, 5 games. Little bit good transposition. Okay, so now what has been played? Knight d2. Until now white has pushed his pawns h4, h5. White and white can also continue g4, g5 and then f3. He can launch an attack. I mean, knight c7 was played. a4, rook b8, and now it's a full novelty if we go into the masters. No game found. Leeches, no game found. Player. Yeah, no game found. So that's why it's gone. So well, now knight c4, b6, bishop g4, rook e8, bishop into c8, queen into c8, knight to e3, h6, knight to f5, king h7, h5, knight to h8, bishop to e3, bishop to f8, knight to b5. Now knight into a7 and knight into d6 both are threatened. Now queen to d7, knight into a7, knight into d5, queen into d5, queen into a7, short castle. Now g4, g5, yeah, is threatened. Queen c7, bishop to d2, subtle. Now white wants to get his bishop to c3 and then play f4. Yeah, so now g6, h into g6, f into g6, king, knight e3. This king's a little bit weak. Yeah, so well, here knight f7, Now, now, I think something like knight g5 and then knight e6 to d4 to e2 or f3, or he can also go this way. I think blacks is planning something like an assault. Yeah, like well, if we see if anything, both all of these squares are connected in a line. Yeah, so there's some complicated things going on. The knights can go from this way, and also after d8 to e6. Yeah, it can go. So complicated position. Now knight c4, knight d8. Well, here you'll ask, okay, you are fine. I mean, no problem to suspect, but what will we do now? Well, easy. Yeah, we just consolidate our forces. f4, e into f4, rook into f4, bishop g7, rook f1. Now the threat is rook to f7. So, well, here rook e7 was played. And now rook to f7 is prevented. Rook to f8 doesn't make sense. King to g2. Knight to e6. Rook to h4. Now bishop into h6 is threatened. Rook to h1 and then rook into h6 can be threatened. Rook to h8. Knight into d6. White wants to get his knight from f7 to h6. Then get his bishop on there. Queen to e5. This position is, I mean, technically lost for black. Queen d7, bishop h6, bishop h6. Rook h6, a finishing blow, because now if king h6, then knight f5, and the king is just gone. So, well, delete. Okay, on to the next game, Tartak over Perk. You'll say, okay, Perk, that one who made the e4, then d6. I remember. See. Boom. Perk defense. If we go to Masters, we see here 41,000 games means a lot of games. Well, if we take on the Carlson count, as I said, because like most of the openings games are played played by Carlson. Carlson opening count, Carlson 1, Carlson 2, Carlson 3, Carlson 4, Carlson 5, Carlson 6. The Carlson count is 6, and well, many good players. I mean, 2767 versus 2868. Just looks at the ratings. Neither of them are below. Just look at the ratings. In all of the games, no player is rated below 27. Yeah, 2700. It's a margin of 27, which is called an super grandmaster. After it's not a FIDE recognized title, but people give him the title. So d4, knight f6. Okay, 550,000 games, no big deal. c4, e6, knight c3, abracadabra. Nimzo Indian. Okay. Nimzo Indian is like the I mean life of this variation. Yeah, c4 e6. Knight f3 is the main line. I don't know why. Like, what is it's the people play anti-Nimzo Indian more than the Nimzo Indian itself. Yeah. So, well, yeah, knight f3 was played. Actually, knight c3 was played in the game. Now bishop b4, knight f3 castle, bishop d2. Some offbeat line. Then the theory was not that good. b6, e3, bishop b7, bishop d3, d6, queen c2, knight b d7, a3, bishop into c3, bishop into c3, queen e7, long castle, e5. You will say, okay, everything right until now. Why? Because, well, it's good. I mean, you have the two bishops pair, then you can take here, then play knight g5, then take here, then take here, and eventually checkmate the king. Good planning. Now takes d5, d5, knight e5, knight e5, d5. Mass exchange in the center, one pair of bishops and one pair of pawns exchanged. So f4, e4, and now, oops. So f4, e4, bishop e2, rook f d8, b4, rook into d1, rook into d1, rook d8, rook into d8, queen into d8. So mass exchange of two pairs of rooks. So the whole rooks were exchanged. a6, bishop f6, d6. Black had to spoil their pawn structure, or else if they took with the queen, then queen e8 was checkmate, like this. So, well, getting on to here, queen d1, black wants to exchange. So queen into d1 check, king into d1, f5. Well, now after f5, white can plan of playing g4 or king d2, king c3, king d4, king e5. Yeah, getting in the center. So c5, b5, locking up the queen side, king to d2, king g7, king to c3, king to f6, king to d4, king to e6. So black prevented him of getting to the e5 square. But now bishop d1, threatening bishop b3 check. Bishop to d5, g4, threatening g into f5 check, and then king into d5. So, well, now c6, g5, bishop c4, a4, bishop d5, h4, bishop c4, h5, bishop d5, and now h6. So white progressed his pawn up to h6 and locked the opponent's king side, which was fairly weaker than his. So bishop to a2, king to c3, bishop to d5, a5, king d7. No, he is not like, okay, I have locked side, let's agree a draw, but white advances. Bishop to h5, attacking, not attacking, just joking. King to e7, g6, pawn break, f into g6. And now, pause the video and think what you can play. Bishop into g6, he is like, okay, let's do and sacrifice. No, I will not give it any move, just a good move, because well, it's not that special. If you take on this, then we can, if you take on h6 like that, then we can play h7 and just get a queen. So king f6, bishop h7, bishop e6, king d4, bishop d7, bishop g8. So, well, these were the two games. Okay, so today is International Women's Day. Yeah, it's celebrated every year on 8th of March. So I made this drawing. I mean, it's the earth over there, and in that there's the face of a woman. Yeah, so this was the game. I hope you liked it. If you to this comment bell icon. Thank you.